Well, I hope she dances better than she welds. I mean, look at that, her mix is all to cock.
Shut up, Dave. What the fuck do you know about welding, anyway?
The Full Monty wasn't supposed to be a blockbuster. It was simply a tiny British film about unemployed steelworkers stripping for cash. No stars, no budget, no Hollywood backing. But behind those awkward dance rehearsals and that unforgettable finale, there was a lot of chaos, and nothing went according to plan. The actors weren't professional dancers. The director nearly quit multiple times, and one scene almost got the entire cast arrested. These are 20 weird facts about the Full Monty. And trust me, the bonus fact at the end will definitely leave you stunned. Let's get into it, shall we? Fact 20. The entire cast was completely naked during filming, and the crew kept accidentally walking onto set.
But I was also given backstage access as a cast member, so I was able to go into the dressing room and watch.
Surprised? Don't be. After all, it was just acting. During the famous final stripping scene, all 6 lead actors were genuinely completely naked on set, and the production had serious problems with crew members finding excuses to watch. Director Peter Cataneo made the decision early that the actors would perform fully nude during filming, even though the actual nudity wouldn't appear on screen. He believed the actors needed to experience real vulnerability to make the scene authentic. The problem was containing over 70 crew members' curiosity. Despite strict closed-set protocols, lighting technicians, sound operators, and production assistants kept accidentally entering the soundstage during nude rehearsals. Some crew members claimed they needed to check the equipment. Others said they forgot about the closed set. Consequently, producer Uberto Pasolini stationed security guards at every entrance and implemented a traffic light system. Red light meant absolutely nobody except essential personnel. Several crew members were nearly fired for violations. Actor Robert Carlyle later admitted the constant intrusions made an already mortifying experience even worse. The actors bonded over the shared humiliation, creating genuine camaraderie that translated to screen chemistry. The closed set became so notorious that crew members from other productions filming at the same facility tried sneaking in. This incident changed how British productions handled nudity protocols, implementing stricter guidelines industry-wide. If you were one of the cast members on set, would you accept being featured in such a scene, or would you politely decline the acting role? Fact 19. Robert Carlyle wasn't the first choice and nearly turned down the role 3 times.
Means a hit when you're in it. You really didn't see hit written on Full Monty.
I thought it was a load of fucking pish to do.
An ITV single drama, which I was sent as well, which did sort of went the other way, really, and fell into a lot of the pitfalls of kind of...
You heard that right. Robert Carlyle wasn't originally cast as Gaz and rejected the role 3 separate times before finally accepting. Director Peter Cataneo initially pursued Sean Bean for the lead role, believing Bean's working-class Sheffield background made him perfect for Gaz. Bean turned it down, finding the script too depressing. Cataneo then offered the role to Christopher Eccleston, who also declined. When Cataneo finally approached Carlyle, the actor read the script and immediately said no. He just finished filming Trainspotting and didn't want another British working-class role. Cataneo persisted, revising scenes to address Carlyle's concerns about the character being too one-dimensional. Carlyle rejected the revised script. Cataneo offered to let Carlyle help rewrite dialogue. Carlyle still said no, arguing the film had no commercial potential and would damage his rising career. Cataneo finally convinced Carlyle by offering complete creative control over Gaz's characterization and promising the film would shoot quickly so Carlyle could move on to other projects. Carlyle accepted reluctantly, expecting the film to disappear without notice. The Full Monty became the highest-grossing British film of all time, making Carlyle an international star. He later admitted his initial rejection was the dumbest career decision he had almost made. Christopher Eccleston has said watching the Full Monty's success was painful, knowing he'd turned down what became an iconic role. Fact 18. The iconic Hot Stuff dance was choreographed in one afternoon by a shopping mall dance instructor.
Full Monty is a very, very, very popular show. And everywhere we go with the show, the audience is a sensation.
The famous Job Center dance sequence set to Donna Summer's Hot Stuff wasn't created by a professional film choreographer, but by a shopping mall dance instructor named Deborah Mollison, who had one afternoon to teach the moves. Mollison worked at a Sheffield community center teaching aerobics to seniors and had never choreographed for film before. Producer Uberto Pasolini discovered her teaching a class while scouting locations and asked if she could create a simple routine for non-dancers. Mollison had 4 hours to choreograph something memorable, funny, and easy enough for actors with zero dance experience. She created the synchronized moves using basic steps from her aerobics classes, deliberately making movements look awkward and unrehearsed. The actors learned the entire routine in 2 hours. Mollison's instinct to keep choreography simple and imperfect made the scene authentic rather than polished. Professional choreographers who later analyzed the sequence praised its apparent spontaneity, not knowing it was literally spontaneous. The scene became the film's most iconic moment and has been parodied hundreds of times across global media. Mollison was paid £300 for that afternoon's work. The sequence's success didn't launch her film career. She returned to teaching mall aerobics and turned down subsequent choreography offers. The hot stuff dance remains one of cinema's most memorable musical moments, created by someone who never choreographed professionally again. Fact 17. The film was supposed to be set in America until Sheffield's City Council begged the producers to change it.
I know you all had the premiere up in Sheffield last night. What sort of reception did you get both last night and over the course?
The Full Monty's original screenplay was set in Buffalo, New York, and only moved to Sheffield after desperate lobbying by the City Council, which needed positive publicity. Screenwriter Simon Beaufoy wrote the first draft in 1995 about American steelworkers after reading about Buffalo's industrial collapse. The script attracted British producer Uberto Pasolini, who loved the concept but hated the American setting. Pasolini wanted to make a distinctly British film and suggested relocating the story to Sheffield, which had suffered similar economic devastation. Sheffield City Council heard about the production and launched an aggressive campaign to host filming. They offered free location permits, waived filming fees, and provided logistical support worth an estimated £200,000. The council was desperate to change Sheffield's image from a dying industrial wasteland to a vibrant cultural center. Beaufoy resisted the location change initially, arguing American audiences wouldn't connect with Sheffield. Pasolini convinced him by explaining British authenticity would make the story more universal. Beaufoy spent 3 weeks in Sheffield researching local dialect, culture, and unemployment realities. The location change transformed the script entirely, grounding it in specific British working-class experience. Sheffield's gamble paid off spectacularly. The Full Monty generated an estimated £30 million in tourism revenue for the city. The council's investment of £200,000 became the most successful economic development initiative in Sheffield's history. Fact 16. Mark Addy was cast because he could cry on command and did it during his audition to prove it.
I were a stripper, right? Me and Gaz and some fellas thought we could...
Best and worst thing about the 70s. What were you guys doing in the 70s?
Just growing up, really, being at school. That was the worst thing, and probably the best thing as well.
Now that was not just impressive, but very smart. Mark Addy won the role of Dave by demonstrating he could produce real tears instantly during his audition, a skill that convinced director Peter Cataneo he'd found his emotional center. Addy was a relatively unknown theater actor from York when he auditioned in January 1996. The audition scene required Dave to break down emotionally while discussing his weight and self-image. Most actors approached the scene intellectually, discussing how they'd build toward the emotion. Addy simply started crying immediately, producing genuine tears without any preparation or warm-up. Cataneo stopped the audition and asked how he did it. Addy explained he'd trained himself to access emotional memories instantly during his theater work. Cataneo asked him to do it again. Addy turned the tears off, chatted normally for 2 minutes, then cried on command again. This ability to access vulnerability instantly made Dave's character work. The film's most powerful moments featured Dave's emotional honesty, with Addy crying in multiple scenes. His breakdown about feeling unattractive and his wife Jean's reassurance became the film's emotional core. Addy later admitted he used memories of his father's death to trigger the emotional response. The technique was psychologically exhausting, leaving him drained after emotional scenes. His performance earned BAFTA recognition and launched his international career, leading to roles in Game of Thrones and the Full Monty Broadway musical. The instant crying audition became legendary in British casting circles. Fact 15. The film's tiny $3 million budget meant actors had to provide their own underwear for filming.
Dales didn't go all the way. We go all the way, don't we, guys? You heard me. What do they call?
Buckle up for this penny-pinching revelation. The Full Monty's minuscule budget was so constrained that actors had to supply their own underwear, socks, and some clothing items for their characters. Producer Uberto Pasolini secured only £2.2 million, approximately $3 million, to make the entire film. There was no money for costume departments or wardrobe purchases. Costume designer Jill Taylor had a budget of £6,000 to clothe 6 lead actors, plus dozens of extras for an entire shoot. She bought most clothing from charity shops and car boot sales. She asked actors to bring personal clothing that fit their characters. Robert Carlyle wore his own leather jacket throughout the film. Mark Addy provided Dave's entire wardrobe, including the underwear visible in stripping scenes. The famous red thong worn by Horst during rehearsals was purchased by actor Paul Barber at an adult shop using his own money. The production reimbursed him £5. The budget constraints created authentic working-class aesthetics because the clothing genuinely was cheap, worn, and real. Wealthier productions spending hundreds of thousands on costumes couldn't replicate that authenticity. The film's visual realism stemmed directly from poverty rather than artistic choice. When The Full Monty earned over $250 million worldwide, the actors joked about not receiving wardrobe allowances. The production's financial constraints accidentally created one of British cinema's most authentic working-class depictions. Fact 14. Tom Wilkinson nearly quit after his wife saw the script and called it career suicide.
It's not been an easy 6 months, granted. I'm up to date with the latest industry developments, and I've kept myself...
Here's some backstage drama. Tom Wilkinson almost abandoned The Full Monty after his wife, actress Diana Hardcastle, read the script and warned him it would destroy his serious dramatic career. Wilkinson was a respected stage and television actor known for dramatic roles when he received the script in early 1996. He loved the script's humor and humanity and immediately wanted the role of Gerald. His wife read the script and was horrified. She argued that appearing in a film about male strippers would make him a joke and eliminate his chances at serious dramatic work. She believed the premise was degrading and the execution would be vulgar. Wilkinson wavered, nearly calling his agent to withdraw. Director Peter Cataneo flew to London to meet Wilkinson personally, convincing him the film was a dignified examination of masculinity and economic desperation rather than cheap comedy. Wilkinson agreed to continue on condition that Gerald's dignity remained intact throughout. His performance became the film's dramatic anchor, with Gerald's pride and shame resonating deeply. The Full Monty didn't hurt Wilkinson's career. It launched him into international stardom, leading to Oscar-nominated roles in the Bedroom and Michael Clayton. Diana Hardcastle later admitted her concerns were completely wrong and that she'd almost cost her husband his breakthrough role. The incident became family legend, with Wilkinson playfully reminding his wife about her terrible career advice. His serious dramatic career not only survived, but thrived specifically because The Full Monty showcased his range. Fact 13. The steel mill locations were so dangerous that insurance companies refused to cover the production.
This is the location that was used for the filming of The Full Monty.
Now this'll terrify you. The abandoned steel mills where The Full Monty filmed were so structurally unsound and hazardous that multiple insurance companies refused to cover the production, forcing producers to shoot without insurance. Sheffield's derelict industrial sites featured asbestos, unstable flooring, collapsed roofs, and toxic chemical residues from decades of steel production. According to the reports, location manager Sue Quinn scouted 23 abandoned facilities before finding ones barely safe enough for filming. Insurance assessors inspected the locations and declared them unsuitable for film production due to imminent collapse risk. 3 insurance companies rejected coverage applications. Producer Uberto Pasolini faced a choice: abandon authentic locations for safer sound stages or proceed without insurance. He chose to proceed uninsured, making cast and crew sign extensive liability waivers. Safety officers were stationed throughout filming, but serious accidents remained possible. During one scene, a section of flooring collapsed beneath a camera dolly, destroying equipment and nearly injuring the cinematographer. Asbestos warnings were posted throughout filming locations. Several crew members later developed respiratory issues potentially linked to exposure. The authentic industrial decay visible on screen came with genuine health risks. The abandoned mills have since been demolished after being declared structurally condemned. The full Monty contains footage of locations that no longer exist and were genuinely dangerous during filming. The production's willingness to accept these risks created unparalleled visual authenticity that safer soundstage filming couldn't replicate. Fact 12. Hot Chocolate's You Sexy Thing almost wasn't in the film because the rights cost more than the entire music budget.
What movie made it so special?
What movie?
The Full Monty, sorry. The Full Monty.
The Full Monty. Well, I think it was the British sense of humour.
Imagine the Full Monty without this particular scene. Would it have been more or less interesting? Too bad. We didn't get the chance to see what the movie would have looked like without it. Reportedly, the iconic audition scene featuring Hot Chocolate's You Sexy Thing nearly didn't happen because licensing that single song cost more than the production's entire allocated music budget. Music supervisor Nick Angel had £12,000 to license all music for the film. Hot Chocolate's publishers demanded £15,000 just for You Sexy Thing. Screenwriter Simon Beaufoy had written that specific song into the script, making it integral to the scene's comedy. The absurdity of unemployed steelworkers auditioning to You Sexy Thing was the joke's foundation. Angel tried negotiating with the publishers, explaining the film's tiny budget. They refused to budge. Producer Uberto Pasolini considered cutting the scene entirely and rewriting the audition sequence. Director Peter Cataneo argued the scene was essential and offered to reduce his own salary to cover the licensing fee. The production company eventually reallocated money from other departments, sacrificing costume budget and location fees to afford the song. This single music cue cost more than feeding the entire cast and crew for the production's 6-week shoot. The scene became one of the film's most beloved moments, with You Sexy Thing experiencing a massive sales resurgence after the film's release. Hot Chocolate earned more from renewed album sales than they received in licensing fees. The song's inclusion proved worth the financial sacrifice, becoming inseparable from the Full Monty's cultural impact. Music licensing negotiations became significantly more favorable for low-budget British films after the Full Monty's success demonstrated how a well-chosen song could drive box office returns. Fact 11. The final stripping scene was filmed in one continuous take because they could not afford to shoot it multiple times. Pretty wild so far, right? If you're loving these Full Monty secrets, go ahead and hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop a comment telling me which fact has shocked you the most. Now, back to the madness. And here's where production desperation created movie magic. The climactic finale, where the men performed their full striptease, was captured in one single continuous take because the production couldn't afford the time or film stock to shoot multiple versions. Director Peter Cataneo had exactly 1 day scheduled to film the entire finale sequence. The production was already 3 days over schedule and hemorrhaging money. Cataneo designed the scene to unfold in real time, with cameras positioned to capture the complete performance from multiple angles simultaneously. The actors had one chance to execute the routine perfectly. If anyone made mistakes, there wasn't time or budget to reshoot. The pressure was unbearable. The 6 actors performed the entire routine without stopping, removing clothing and choreographed sequence while maintaining character. Robert Carlyle later described it as the most terrifying moment of his career, knowing there were no second chances. The single-take approach created authentic nervousness visible in the actors' performances. Their genuine anxiety about exposing themselves on camera translated to the character's vulnerability. The scene's raw authenticity stems directly from budget limitations forcing a one-shot approach. Modern productions would film dozens of takes and edit together the best moments. The Full Monty's finale remains untouched and unedited, capturing 6 actors' actual one-time performance. This limitation became the scene's greatest strength, creating unrepeatable spontaneous magic that multiple takes would have diluted. Fact 10. The entire film was shot in just 5 weeks because the actors had other commitments.
For instance, Gaz, he has to come up with 700 quid or he won't be able to see his kid again. So he's forced into that situation through that circumstance.
The Full Monty was filmed in only 35 days because the actors' conflicting schedules meant they had a single 5-week window when everyone was simultaneously available. Robert Carlyle was committed to another film starting in July 1996. Tom Wilkinson had theater obligations. Mark Addy was scheduled for television work. Director Peter Cataneo had to shoot an average of 4 script pages daily, nearly double the normal pace for British productions. Some days required completing 7 pages. There was no time for multiple takes or extensive rehearsals. Actors learned their lines the night before and performed scenes with minimal preparation. The rush schedule created numerous continuity errors visible in the final film, including changing weather conditions within single scenes and inconsistent costume details. The cinematographer had to light scenes quickly, sacrificing artistic perfection for efficiency. Several scenes were filmed in single takes out of necessity rather than choice. The compressed timeline actually benefited the film's energy and spontaneity. The actors' exhaustion and stress mirrored their characters' desperation. What could have been a weakness became a strength, with the rushed production creating authentic working-class grittiness. Most British films of this scale scheduled 10 to 12 weeks for principal photography. The Full Monty accomplished everything in 5 weeks, proving that constraints can drive creativity and efficiency. Fact 9. Sheffield residents kept disrupting filming by trying to join the strip show.
Great. I mean, I'm on Chris's first tour. Time of the tour, but I've done 4 now on it. It's been fantastic.
This your 4th one?
Yeah.
Now this is hilarious. During location shooting in Sheffield, local residents constantly interrupted filming by attempting to join the strippers or demanding to watch rehearsals. Word spread quickly through Sheffield's working-class neighborhoods that a film about unemployed strippers was filming locally. Dozens of actual unemployed men showed up at filming locations asking for parts. Some men stripped down to underwear unsolicited, demonstrating their qualifications for background roles. Production assistants spent hours politely turning away enthusiastic volunteers who thought the film was documenting a real strip show. One man arrived in full Chippendale-style costume, demanding an audition. Security eventually had to be hired to control crowds. Sheffield's economic devastation meant many men genuinely viewed the fictional strip show as potential employment. The desperation was heartbreaking, yet reflected the film's themes perfectly. Some locals who disrupted filming appeared as extras after production staff realized their authentic presence enhanced the film's realism. The pub scenes feature actual unemployed Sheffield steelworkers playing themselves. Their genuine frustration and humor made the background scenes remarkably authentic. Director Peter Cataneo later said Sheffield's enthusiastic participation proved the film's premise resonated deeply with real working-class communities. The disruptions delayed filming by an estimated 3 days, but added invaluable authenticity. Sheffield residents' pride in the film's success vindicated the production's decision to embrace, rather than reject, local involvement. Fact 8. Robert Carlyle and Tom Wilkinson had explosive arguments about character motivation that nearly ended production. Get ready for some serious on-set conflict. Robert Carlyle and Tom Wilkinson clashed repeatedly during filming over character interpretation, with their arguments becoming so heated that director Peter Cataneo considered shutting down production. Carlyle believed Gaz should be portrayed as dangerously reckless and borderline abusive toward his son. Wilkinson argued this made the character irredeemable and unsympathetic. Their conflicting interpretations created philosophical battles about the film's message. Carlyle wanted grittier realism showing working-class desperation's ugly side. Wilkinson preferred maintaining dignity and hope. Their disagreements exploded during the scene where Gaz steals from his son's room. Carlyle wanted to play it cold and calculating. Wilkinson believed this crossed a line into villainy. They screamed at each other between takes. Production stopped for 2 hours while Cataneo mediated. He ultimately sided with Carlyle's darker interpretation, believing complexity made characters interesting. Wilkinson threatened to quit, but was contractually obligated to continue. The tension between them remained throughout filming, actually enhancing their on-screen dynamic. Gerald and Gaz's fractious friendship gained authenticity from the actors' genuine conflict. Years later, both actors admitted their clash improved the film by preventing it from becoming too sentimental. They've since become friends and laugh about their explosive creative differences. The conflict proved that artistic disagreement can elevate rather than destroy collaborative work. Fact 7. The film's distributor wanted to cut the full nudity and release it as a PG-13.
I know you lot from somewhere. Strippers! Are you still doing it?
What are you?
Well, the Full Monty, the original film, was about 6 ex-steelworkers from the city of Sheffield in the UK.
Here's some studio interference that almost ruined everything. Fox Searchlight Pictures, the Full Monty's American distributor, initially demanded the final stripping scene be edited to avoid showing full frontal nudity, arguing a PG-13 rating would maximize box office potential. The British cut showed the men's silhouettes in full nudity during the finale's final moments. Fox executives believed American audiences would reject explicit male nudity. They commissioned test screenings with the nudity digitally obscured. Audiences hated the censored version, arguing it betrayed the film's entire premise. The whole point was these men summoning the courage to go the full Monty. Removing that moment destroyed the narrative's emotional payoff. Producer Uberto Pasolini refused to approve the edited version. Fox threatened to reduce the film's theatrical release to limited art house distribution. Pasolini called their bluff, arguing the film would fail without its controversial finale. Fox eventually relented after British box office numbers proved the unedited version was a phenomenon. The American release kept the nudity, receiving an R rating. The Full Monty became one of the highest-grossing R-rated comedies in American cinema history, earning over $100 million domestically. Fox executives who demanded censorship were proven catastrophically wrong. The film's success demonstrated that audiences respected artistic integrity over artificial commercial calculation. The controversy generated free publicity, with debates about male nudity in mainstream cinema driving ticket sales. Fact 6. The actors actually learned to strip from professional male dancers who worked at Sheffield nightclubs.
Stop! Look, you stay still. And you go forward, okay?
Anthony, how did y'all come up with this idea?
Well, the studio came to me and asked me to host this, but, you know, cancer is something that affects all of us.
The 6 lead actors received stripping lessons from actual male exotic dancers working at Sheffield's underground nightclub circuit. Director Peter Cataneo wanted authentic movement rather than Hollywood choreography. He contacted Sheffield's gay nightclub scene to find professional strippers willing to teach actors. 3 professional dancers spent 2 weeks coaching the actors on stage presence, clothing removal techniques, and audience interaction. The professionals taught them how to make awkward stripping look confident. They explained the psychology of performing sexuality for audiences. The actors were mortified initially, struggling to embody sexual confidence they didn't feel. Mark Addy found the training humiliating, particularly the advice about working his body's movements despite his weight. Robert Carlyle initially refused certain suggestions he considered too explicitly sexual. The professional strippers were brutally honest, telling actors when their movements looked pathetic rather than sexy. This harsh feedback proved invaluable, forcing actors to commit fully rather than half-heartedly. The authentic stripping techniques visible in the film came directly from Sheffield's real male exotic dancing community. The professional dancers appear briefly as extras in the club scene where the group watches male strippers. Their presence added legitimacy to the fictional performance. The actors maintained contact with their stripping coaches after filming, with several attending the film's premiere. The full Monty's authenticity stemmed from embracing, rather than sanitizing, real working-class entertainment culture. Fact 5. The famous Big Willie rumor about one actor being exceptionally well endowed began on set and has not been confirmed.
Obviously, I remember everything differently from Simon, but the main point was, yes, I was interested.
A persistent rumor claims one of the 6 lead actors was so extraordinarily well endowed that crew members gasped during nude filming, but nobody involved has ever confirmed which actor. The rumor originated during the closed-set nude filming when a crew member allegedly leaked gossip to British tabloids. Tabloids ran stories claiming one actor's anatomy shocked the production team. The articles never named the actor, fueling endless speculation. Entertainment journalists have pursued this story for 25 years without confirmation. All 6 actors have been asked repeatedly and refused to address the question. Robert Carlyle calls it the stupidest question I've ever been asked. Tom Wilkinson laughs and changes subjects when reporters inquire. Mark Addy jokes about being disappointed he's not the subject of speculation. The rumor persists because the final scene shows only silhouettes, leaving anatomy to imagination. Some crew members have hinted the rumor is true but won't identify the actor out of professionalism. The legend has become part of the Full Monty's cultural mythology. Fan theories analyze the silhouette scene frame by frame, attempting to determine which actor inspired the gossip. The mystery generates ongoing interest in a 25-year-old film. Whether true or fabricated, the rumor demonstrates how nudity creates lasting cultural fascination. The actor's unified silence suggests either an agreement to never discuss it or that the entire story is tabloid invention. Fact 4. Anne Dudley's Oscar-winning score was composed in 3 weeks on a Casio keyboard in her bedroom.
When I start working on something, I like to have a lot of thinking time. A lot of time for the ideas to just settle in. When they said to me, oh, you've got to make an entry for the Oscars, I said, oh, well, don't be stupid. No, they said, you really have to. And in those days, the composer had...
Composer Anne Dudley created the Full Monty's Academy Award-winning score in just 3 weeks using a basic Casio keyboard in her bedroom because the production couldn't afford professional recording studios. Dudley was hired 2 months before the film's premiere after the original composer quit. The music budget was £8,000 total. Dudley couldn't afford to hire an orchestra or rent studio time. She composed everything using a mid-range Casio keyboard and basic recording equipment. The famous brass band arrangement was synthesized electronically rather than performed by real musicians. She worked 16-hour days composing and recording simultaneously. The score's working-class authenticity came partly from its budget limitations. She couldn't produce a lush Hollywood sound even if she wanted to. The electronic brass and simple melodies actually enhanced the film's humble aesthetic. When The Full Monty became a phenomenon, Dudley's score was praised for its perfect tonal match. She won the Academy Award for Best Original Musical or Comedy Score, shocking the industry. Her acceptance speech mentioned creating the score on a cheap keyboard, making her victory even more remarkable. The Oscar win transformed her career, leading to major studio projects. She later re-recorded the score with a full orchestra for the soundtrack album. The synthesized bedroom recordings remain in the actual film. Dudley's triumph proved that creativity and talent matter more than expensive equipment or resources. Fact 3. The film was rejected by every major British broadcaster before Fox Searchlight rescued it.
Well, you know, to a certain extent, because, you know, what you really don't want, you don't want to kind of downgrade the memory of...
Now here's some industry blindness that'll astound you. Every major British broadcaster and film company rejected The Full Monty, claiming it had no commercial potential before Fox Searchlight's American division agreed to distribute it internationally. Producer Uberto Pasolini spent 2 years trying to secure British distribution. The BBC, Channel 4 Films, and working title all passed. British executives argued that a film about male strippers was too niche and regional. They believed Sheffield's dialect would alienate audiences. One executive reportedly said, "Nobody wants to see fat men naked." The British film industry's rejection nearly killed the project before filming began. Fox Searchlight's British acquisitions scout saw potential and convinced American executives to take a chance. Fox provided minimal marketing support, expecting modest art house returns. The Full Monty opened in limited American release and exploded. Word of mouth drove unprecedented expansion. It became the highest-grossing film in British cinema history and earned over $258 million worldwide on its $3 million budget. British companies that rejected it lost hundreds of millions in potential profits. The BBC particularly regretted passing, having turned down what became a cultural phenomenon. The Full Monty's success proved British industry executives fundamentally misunderstood their own audience. The film's working-class authenticity resonated globally, contradicting assumptions about commercial viability. Fox Searchlight's willingness to trust a British film that British companies rejected demonstrated the value of taking creative risks. Fact 2. The film's success triggered a real increase in male stripping groups across Britain and America.
How did you feel about joining this cast, the Full Monty?
It was great. It's really, really good. I think I knew the show because
The Full Monty directly caused an explosion of amateur male stripping groups forming across Britain and America, with unemployed men genuinely copying the film's premise. Within 6 months of the film's release, over 200 amateur male stripping troupes had formed in Britain alone. Unemployed workers from closed factories genuinely organized strip shows to earn money. Sheffield experienced the most dramatic increase, with dozens of groups performing at local pubs and clubs. Some achieved genuine success, earning enough to support their families. The film transformed male stripping from underground gay entertainment to mainstream working-class phenomenon. American cities with industrial decline saw similar trends. Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo all reported increases in amateur male stripping groups. Some groups explicitly marketed themselves as Full Monty shows, despite having no connection to the film. Legal disputes arose over trademark infringement. Several groups were sued by Fox for unauthorized use of the film's name. The phenomenon demonstrated the film's themes resonating beyond entertainment into actual economic behavior. Sociologists studied the trend as an example of art influencing life. Male stripping became destigmatized, viewed as legitimate if unorthodox employment. The cultural shift wasn't entirely positive. Some men felt exploited or humiliated by performing sexuality for money. Others found empowerment in embracing their bodies despite not fitting conventional attractive standards. The Full Monty's legacy extended beyond cinema into actual social and economic change. Fact 1. Robert Carlyle demanded the film never have a sequel because he believed it would destroy the original's integrity.
The end of the first film was just so triumphant. That ending when the hats go off and bang. And we only ever shot the complete strip from the back. That was only ever one, and we shot that once. There was one take from the back.
Robert Carlyle has personally blocked every attempt to create a Full Monty sequel for 25 years, using his contractual power to prevent what he calls commercial exploitation of the original film. Fox Searchlight wanted a sequel immediately after the first film's success. Studio executives offered Carlyle $5 million to reprise Gaz. He refused categorically. Carlyle's contract included sequel approval rights, meaning no sequel could proceed without his participation. He's used that power to kill every proposed sequel, remake, and spin-off. Fox has approached him approximately every 3 years with new proposals. He's rejected them all. Studio offers have reached $20 million. Carlyle remains unmoved, arguing that sequels would betray the original's message about dignity and desperation. He believes the Full Monty told a complete story that doesn't need continuation. Other cast members have expressed willingness to return, but Carlyle's contractual control makes sequels impossible without him. His principled stand has cost him potentially over $50 million in sequel paychecks. He considers this his greatest professional achievement, protecting artistic integrity over commercial gain. A Broadway musical adaptation proceeded without the original actors, but Carlyle prevented a film version. His absolute refusal has made the Full Monty one of the few modern blockbusters to remain sequel-free. Carlyle's stance demonstrates rare commitment to artistic principles in an industry obsessed with franchises. His protection of the original film's legacy ensures it remains a standalone masterpiece rather than a diluted franchise. The Full Monty wasn't just British cinema. It was chaos, naked panic, and working-class desperation creating accidental magic. If these secrets shocked you, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell me in the comments which fact floored you most. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes you've got to go the full Monty.